Hey, look, we're all together in Las Vegas. Kratz is kind of lost, but I found him. Here he is. We're playing a poker tournament today. We're doing another one tomorrow. It's Braun, it's Kratz and Kipnis if you're listening on the pod. So we are excited to be in the same spot and appreciate BetMGM for hooking us up with the great studio here. We're back. We were here in, I think, November it was at Mandalay Bay. Beautiful studio here along with the sports book. All right, before we get into any biz, I do just want to throw something out there. I didn't tell you guys about this particular part. I did catch Kratz at the gym.
I love surprises.
Yeah, I always come with a surprise at the start. So I caught – well, actually, Kratz caught me at the gym. I didn't even see him, and he smacked me while I was walking.
I didn't see you. I was doing just
I'm sorry. Yeah. So just like
he was counting out loud.
Quick etiquette question. I go to a bar, right, to –
Juice bar.
Juice bar, right, wait to – put my towel down, put it down. I take 3 steps. It's right near the rack that has the weights to pick up, right? The plates. I turn around, and there is a gym goer beelining towards the towel and the place that I've got with the bar, right? So I'm like, surely they're not going here. They see a towel, and I'm right here. I walk with the weights. And the gym goer says, it's funny. We both arrived here at the same time. I swear I can't make this crap up. We just arrived at the same time. You're right, except my towel's here, and I just carried 2 weights to go put this down. And this all occurred in 20 seconds. Then you came from somewhere else beelining to this area.
Did the middle of my set interrupt the beginning of yours? I'm sorry, buddy.
Like, it was so awkward. And I'm just like, okay. Like, it was like, tie goes to the runner, right?
Do you want to tell him?
You could tell him.
What?
He was trying to pick you up.
Yeah.
No.
That was 100.
It was a woman.
You are cute.
She was trying to pick you up.
So she was trying to start a conversation,
Scott,
and I'm just
you show up with your perfectly defined calves, your well-sculpted biceps.
I don't have great calves.
In sleeveless shirt. You were yogging.
Don't lean forward and flex like that. We're giving you your props already.
I was just yogging on the. I didn't think it was going to go this direction. I actually did not even think about that.
She saw you. She was spotting you, and then she saw you were going to be stopped at one spot because you were yogging on the treadmill. And then she came over, and she was like, "Oh, I can't believe we tied. Give me your digits."
No. Well, I did not.
I'm telling Emma.
You know what I did? I just said, "Okay, all good, all you," and I walked away.
And crushed her day.
Yeah,
I thought I was being nice because I was
she's
like, clearly.
Disappointed. I mean, it is a nice thing,
to
but
use
she
this
was
space
disappointed
more than I do.
She was disappointed.
Well, I'm sorry, whoever you are. I did not catch any of your cues, but let's charge the damn mound. I learned a lot just now. I did learn a lot. One other note from the gym, I was there not for that long, but I also had the TV on this morning, and on the national television networks, which I don't catch too often nowadays, at least an hour of consuming did not include the Shohei Ohtani versus Paul Skenes matchup with the Pirates and the Dodgers. So we're here for it. Don't worry. I know some places forget that baseball exists, but it was a freaking awesome matchup. The Dodgers got smacked by the Pirates. They've lost 2 in a row against them. Some Dodger fans are freaking out. It's not that big a deal, but I mean, this is cool, Kip, to see what Paul Skenes is doing right now, and he's pumping a hundo plus, and then Ohtani got him later on.
Well, this is kind of what we expected with the stuff that he has. This is the new age of baseball coming in that we got to watch this. This series, even with Skenes and Jones, and those were actually the 2 softer throwers of the game with Chapman coming in and hitting 104, I think. And then you just are reminded that Ohtani is that guy when he can do that too. And, oh, by the way, he can also hit that as well. It's just incredible what he can do on both sides of the plate.
Thank you for confirming what I was saying last year, that Ohtani was the best player in the game and not Acuna. But it was incredible. Like, in a day and age where we have dudes throwing a hunch, everybody's got 2, maybe 3 guys in the pen. The Twins have like 6 guys in the pen to throw 100. For Skenes to come out and do what he did, me especially saying, maybe it's a dead zone fastball. Maybe this fastball doesn't play. You come in and you do that to Ohtani in your first at bat. That is what I was on the plane, delayed on the plane, watching that at bat and like impressed, because we're not impressed with 100 anymore, but it's impressive when you come out and do that. And then Ohtani flipped the script and got to 3-2 after getting blown away again and got him. Like, this is
the fun part is too. It's like he's not just a hard thrower. That's the best part about Skenes. He has a mix and an array of pitches. And so it's like you can't just sit dead red, whether it's a reliever and you're like, okay, here's 101. I can start to time it up. This guy's moving the ball around in and out of the plate. That's got to be one of the more exciting at bats to watch in all of baseball right now. If you were to pick a starter or a pitcher versus a hitter, that's got to be up there and one of the best matchups to pick.
I mean, since the WBC when Trout and Ohtani faced, like, we couldn't have scripted that better. Right now, as hot as Skenes is, and I know Shota's didn't have the best second to last start. His last start was unearned runs, but Skenes is pushing his way to the Rookie of the Year candidate right now.
Quickly.
After what Shota did, and matchups like this it just brings a spotlight, and I hope baseball continues to spotlight this type of stuff, how hard this is. And I can't wait till we get a lefty on to talk about how far he's sweeping that sweeper from backdoor for guys. Like, it's just, as a lefty, for me, facing a lefty that did that, you're just giving up. You're giving up on a sail slider outside. And to me, it's looking like he's able to backdoor that pitch from so far out.
Do you think there's enough time? Because I remember what the game wants to promote its younger stars. Do we see Skenes at all near an All-Star game this year?
Yes.
You think so?
If he continues, because he probably missed 5 starts.
Okay,
he'll have about
4 or 5 more, maybe 6 more before
voting. It's June.
Remember, there's injury
July
replacements, so you can get in there late.
Is the game July 17th? Does that sound right?
About there. Remember, you can get in late, pitching especially. Dudes,
they're going to want to promote him. They're going to want it. He's one of the new faces of the game.
It doesn't. Here's my thing. It doesn't count. The game doesn't count, and it
counts for who he's taking over. That's my thing. I'm trying to
understand that, but there also is a greater good here where he is the talk of baseball, pitching wise, rookie wise, all of that. There is value to that. People want to see someone like that in a game like this. If he had a 5.5 ERA, but he still
wouldn't be having this conversation.
He's got the splinker and he's 103 on everything, whatever. I get it, but he's also shining. So he's just going to hold him back because he missed 4 or 5 starts. Like, there's plenty of guys that have made it a month. They get called up a month in and then they make it to the All-Star.
They make it by like a hot month.
I wouldn't say plenty of guys. I would say plenty of guys. You missed a whole month?
No, I'm saying they make it by just having a hot month.
There's definitely a hot month. Oh, that happens all the time, but not missing a whole month.
No.
Here's my and this might be my Philly bias. Do you take Paul Skenes over Christopher Sanchez?
Yes. I don't even hesitate.
Yeah.
Because also they're already going to send
– They're going to send Suarez, 3 starters.
Zach Wheeler.
And Aaron Nola.
Harper. I'm sorry. You're not bringing the whole Phillies rotation to the All-Star game. You say, hey, Chris, good news and bad news. Good news, you're having a great year. Bad news, you're on the Phillies, and other people do get
That's
elected
how it
to
might
the
work,
All-Star
where
team.
the guy who has the last start before the All-Star break doesn't throw in the All-Star game, so someone who can throw takes his spot. Something like that happens.
So then here's my question. Who else makes it from the Pirates?
I got to look at Jones.
Nicky Gonzalez is hitting over 300. Jared Jones has been pitching the entire year.
That's what I was thinking.
He's been not as lights out as he was when he first started, but still, I mean,
good.
We're comparing
3 ERA.
Right. Yeah. We're comparing the stars to the moon here. Like he's still having an unbelievable year, and if he's there the whole year and their numbers are comparable, Jared Jones has to get it, right?
The game's in a great place with these young guys. I don't think as
many
people realize. Not a cop-out.
No, but the answer is
you're right. Not everybody can make it. I'm just saying it's good to have these kind of hard decisions to make.
The answer is Jones and Skenes.
One. You only get one of them.
Oh, you're saying if you only get one?
Pirates aren't going to be able to get more than one.
They can get 2 pitchers in.
Yeah.
Pitchers
especially
drop.
if it's Jones and then you want to get Skenes in. If Skenes is the second guy, for instance, that's how you get
Here's what I would say. Pitch Jones on the Sunday before the All-Star break, and then have Skenes take his place.
That's what I was saying.
So they're both
whether
in.
It takes a Philly spot or something. Yeah. That's how you get more than one in.
I'm more on this than I was on your Ellie argument for last year. Just because he's exciting. Like, what he's doing here is...
Yeah, but Ellie also was putting up numbers. It was the same conversation.
It's the same conversation.
He started late. he finished poorly, but that was before the All-Star game.
He still had good numbers.
His numbers were good.
Everyone
But
wanted
see,
to
to me,
see him.
same
He took
thing.
over the league by storm.
Same thing, though. McLean should have been in last year. Spencer Steer should have been in. They were there the whole year.
Ellie was in?
Having ridiculous numbers.
He didn't get in.
And Ellie came up. This is last year's argument. No, I know. But this was last year's argument. And so it's like we're sitting there talking about the same thing. Does it sell the game?
Yes.
To me, I think it sells the game because now he's not only going to face Ohtani. He's not going to face Ohtani in an All-Star game. He's going to face Kyle Tucker. He's going to face Yordan Alvarez. He's going to face, I'm just thinking Aaron Judge. In that top of that lineup, it's going to be Tucker. And that's what you want to see. Yeah. You're right.
Also, they bring someone from each team. So it's not like we don't have these made-up rules already for this exhibition game. If you wanted everything to be fair, you wouldn't do that. There's some years where some teams don't deserve to send an all-star, and they send one because that's just how they're doing it. And what do they do it for? Marketing. So to me, if you really need to make a rookie designation, remember they do the vet designation sometimes?
Oh, they just started that.
Pujols.
They just started that.
Last year, the year before? Or
that makes more sense. I think you're going to – that ruffles less feathers than a rookie exemption type thing.
Okay.
Because I didn't feel like Harper deserved to get it his first year when he got called up. And I only say that is because – his numbers paled in comparison to Hunter Pence's numbers, who was my teammate. I get it. I'm biased. But you see your teammate playing every single day in the show, leading a team, and somebody else gets it that was hyped up. So I'll always lean on that. Like, if you deserve it, you get there. If it's for marketing, I hope the other guys that may never get another All-Star game, not saying Hunter Pence won't, just may never get another All-Star game, also get it.
No, but that's why we do this, right? You played, you guys earned it. I didn't do any of that. I'm repping the fan, and I'm like, I want to see this cool rookie. So it's a balance. It's the balance of business and what the players do. So two other quick things from here. One is Skenes actually attended Ohtani's first start at Angel Stadium back in 2018. Someone threw that fact out. So I just thought that was awesome. And I just want to show the video of what Kip was alluding to, which is Aroldis Chapman later in the game against Ohtani, striking him out. Let me know what you think about this pitch and maybe describe it for the crowd listening on the podcast later because that moved.
That's I want to swing, and I also want to make sure 103 doesn't hit me.
Right?
Effectively wild as Chapman, but it's still doing it. He's 36 years old.
People don't understand when you watch this video for the podcast, people. Aroldis Chapman, left on left. If he throws the ball arm side, it will sink. And this is what people don't understand about Chappie. And now we have the numbers up there. He threw pitches at 104, 103.8, 103.4, 103.2, 103. This is my example of when guys can still rear back. He's not throwing 104 every single day. If he goes to the Rays or the Dodgers, they're going to say, hey, why don't you throw 104, 103 every single day? He told me he physically can't do that. There's some days where he feels it and some days where he doesn't. And to me, that's how he stayed healthy, besides the fact that he's 250 pounds of absolute chiseled rock. But his pitches move way more than people think. When he throws it glove side into a righty, his ball cuts. When he throws it arm side away, it sinks. And sometimes, good luck, Yasmani Grandal, he's trying to go in and it goes away. It's not like it cuts when it's away. Yeah. It's running away from you.
Do you think there's a little of you got Skenes throwing 100,
100%.
You have Jones throwing 100, Ohtani, and he's like, not so fast. He's like, I'm still the big dog.
It's a day game. I still got this.
Yeah.
Because
everybody's talking about these hard throwers, and you're forgetting that I'm still the king of the mountain here.
He does not want to strike a guy out for the last out of the inning with a slider. He wants to get the fastball by the guy so he can stand on it. He throws it and he stands there. Like he's another level, and we need to appreciate what he's done at 36 years old, staying as healthy as he has.
Yep.
Even though, I know he left New York in kind of a bad situation or bad surroundings. He didn't show up to the park, all that stuff. Yeah. But this dude is an absolute beast and should be celebrated.
Natural talent, like the talent that he was given.
Works so hard.
True, right.
His arms are the size of Kip's head.
He's a monster. So that was an awesome game.
Debating
Even
how I
though
take that.
it wasn't like close in the ninth, walk off, whatever. The individual matchups, if you're a baseball fan, were so good in that one. So let's pop the newsletter because we talked about it, of course, at the top of the newsletter. To check it out this morning, scan the QR code and get the FT leadoff newsletter. Skenes versus Ohtani is on there. We're going to talk Phillies next. So we're kind of going in order of the newsletter if you check it out. But I'll drop the link. It's free. Okay. I know some people charge for newsletters. We don't. So check it out. Next up, this was a matchup of 2 out of the 4, quote, good teams in the National League that were over 500 entering yesterday. 2 first-place teams. And the Phillies displayed their dominance. Philly expert Erik Kratz just feeling great right now since he, A, picked them to win the World Series, B, said that they have the best rotation ever, and C, said they might never lose again. They have lost some games, but they are awesome. It's all coming together for them this year because the talent has been pretty similar name-wise the last, 3 seasons for them?
And they just play together more. But A, I did pick them. B, I was totally grafting off of somebody else's Codify Fangraphs. We're all saying they were the best pitching staff. And C, I've never said they're never going to lose again because baseball would say they probably will lose. But this is awesome. We talked about it yesterday, Kip, how there's only 4 National League teams over 500.
It's incredible.
And so this was, for me, this is one of the marquee matchups. And the offense really didn't show up too much. David Dahl and Garrett Stubbs score runs for you when you score I think they scored 9 runs in the entire series. So kudos to the Brewers, but this pitching staff showed up and they're a train moving down.
Sign of a really good team and a really good lineup when the bottom of the lineup or something can be the guys who beat you. When it's not just it doesn't just turn over the lineup and unless it's the big dogs that beat us, we'll be all right. If you're winning games with the bottom of the lineup, you're a good team. What was Ranger Suarez' year last year?
Good. I think he had a.
I mean, obviously not this good, but
no. But he started late again. It was his second or third consecutive year where he started late. So he got 120.
I think that's
innings.
I think that's
125.
the big difference this year, is especially when you go into the playoffs. Wheeler and Nola are a 1-2 punch.
But Ranger was their guy last year in the playoffs.
He was great in the playoffs.
He's great in the playoffs. Well, I'm saying that's, but
though,
he's establishing first off, well, he was great in the playoffs last year, but I'm just saying it's if you're looking at the Phillies rotation the years past, you're okay, we got to win the games that aren't Wheeler and Nola. It's there is no letdown because as soon as Ranger throws, now it's right back to Nola or whoever the order is. That is a tough 1, 2, 3. And
I think the toughest. That's
toughest.
Is that the toughest? I mean, you can go to the Mariners right off the gate. That's what I'm thinking. Mariners. I think the Orioles top 3.
In the playoffs, I'll take this one because they're also playoff tested. I know how it looks in the playoffs when you're facing better competition, and all 3 of these guys have had
guys
good
who
success.
Throw their number ones. 3 guys who can be number ones at times with their stuff.
Yeah,
I think the biggest thing that he's showing Topper is that he can go past the 5th. If you remember his outings last year in the playoffs, Ranger was going. He was okay, 4th, 5th inning. Now we have all our horses ready because Wheeler and Nola had already gone, or Ranger through game 1, and they went Hoffman, Alvarado, Kimbrel, Strahm, and they're this game's shorter. We didn't have to go Ranger. Now Ranger's got, I think, the best ERA in baseball.
He does. 1.70 is the best. Also, I just want to throw this in there. I mean, he was okay last year. I mean, he was above average. I just easy stats for people. ERA plus 100 league average. He was 104. He was 109 the year before that. 2021, he was insane. It was just a little over 100 innings. He had a 1.36 ERA, 3.08 ERA plus. This year, he's at a 2.36 ERA plus. So 74 innings. He's got a 1.70 ERA. He's 9-1. He is
nasty.
He is taking his game to another regular season level right now.
And I think it gets trust. He's going to grow trust from Topper. That's really where it's do you need an extra bullpen piece if all 3 of your playoff guys can go 6 innings? I mean, you can always use more bullpen pieces. I get that. But
you hear Scherzer and everybody else talk about it, about starters only going 5 innings lately. Phillies, that's a weapon to have if your starters carry you into the 6th, 7th, 8th.
So to clarify, it's a playoff weapon. it's also a huge regular season weapon.
Yes, because
Right.
you're everybody's more rested.
Yeah.
Less wear and tear on the bullpen arms. Less, like there's just so much advantage to having them go deep now.
Would you agree that every time a team does a bullpen day during the regular season, it's like
an angel loses its wings?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like, guys, we did it. We scratched and clawed our way to a bullpen win today, but we did 30 of those this year. And how's our dude feeling in October, right?
I get it.
Yep.
I get it. We can ask
5-10 appearances from each reliever. Just law of averages, you're going to have a problem based off.
We can ask our next guest. Those are the dudes that are
You're right. Let's ask him. So
hanging the arm.
Ryan Yarbrough coming up next. We'll be right back.
Unified Healing is sponsoring this episode of Foul Territory. Unified Healing is an innovative global network of wellness centers powered by Energy Enhancement System, or EE System. This technology promotes wellness and deep relaxation, and there are hundreds of locations across the globe. Interested in experiencing the EE System technology for yourself? Go to unifiedhealing.com/foul to learn more and find a center near you. That's UNIFYD healing.com/FOUL. No material or testimonials on the Unified Healing website are intended to be viewed as medical advice or a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment and before undertaking a new healthcare regimen, including EE System.
We have Dodgers pitcher Ryan Yarbrough back on FT Live. Got the whole crew together this time. It's Kipnis, it's Kratz, Braun here. Yarbs, great to have you on. Let's continue this conversation. So help me out, Kratz. We were just talking about the effect of a bullpen day. Obviously, you've been in every role, and you've been with teams that employ, or whatever the word is, right, that strategize pitching-wise in different ways, right? Can you kind of go over what impact that makes in the regular season and how that carries into the playoffs too? And how you doing?
Good. First off, appreciate it, guys. It's been a little while, so good to see you guys all there together. It's been a little bit, so no, it's been. I think it's kind of a couple ways you can look at it. One is it kind of alleviates guys who started maybe hadn't been banged up in years past, like they can kind of get their innings without having to really finagle it later in the year. If guys maybe threw 120 innings and they're 150 with the playoff push, stuff like that. But I think I heard you guys talk about it. It can be kind of tough, especially where you don't want to abuse your guys, especially early in the year where you're having short guys go shorter to then pitching high octane games in late September, October in playoffs. So I feel like it's a fine line of trying to balance it. But I mean, I think at this point everyone's doing it. You don't really see starters unfortunately take those 35 starts or every fifth day. It's, at least in our case with the Dodgers, we have a pretty unique situation going on with us.
But as far as a bullpen guy goes, do you start to feel the wear and tear where you're like, oh man, it's June and they've grinded on me, and now I'm like, how are we getting through July and August? Because that's when you see teams and I always pick on Gabe Kapler, a Gabe Kapler team who does unbelievable. They're absolutely crushing it. Dudes are coming in, they're winning, and then their win-loss record just goes because their bullpen is just tired and exhausted. Do you start feeling that in June, or is that just something July and August you wake up and you're like, what the crap?
Yeah, I mean, from personal experience, first year fully being in the bullpen, I'm kind of learning that, but at the same time, I'm most of the time going multiple innings, so I get those days off. So I have the luxury of getting that where, like you said, probably those one inning, late inning reliever guys who are, having to just pitch day back to back, maybe 3 days in a row. I'm sure it can wear on you. I think that's just going to be the thing where you have to have really good communication and from a team perspective, have an understanding, hey, this guy needs a day, stuff like that. And especially late in the year, making sure they were ready. That was I think the unique thing when I came over last year to the Dodgers. I was basically still throwing every fifth day, but I would basically piggyback at the end after a starter. So I gave the bullpen a complete day off, and guys were like, this is incredible. Thank you so much. You know what I mean? So it's just those unique situations where if you can kind of bring in a guy like that, or to give those guys, especially late in the year, days off, not including the off days, is going to be huge because you want them to be clicking on all cylinders into October.
Yeah, you want those days off, but we just talked about him a little bit. If you remember Chapman at the start of his career, they weren't sure if he was a starter or a reliever. And you remember Jabba Chamberlain and stories like that. Talk to us a little bit about how important routine is and consistency and knowing which inning you have as a reliever or knowing your role instead of kind of going back and forth between, hey, I got a second inning of a reliever game or I'm always the seventh inning in this game. The consistency plays a big part for you guys, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's a little easier as a starter because you know exactly what you're doing every single day. You can kind of really get things down to like the minute if you really wanted to. But as a reliever, you don't always get that luxury. You kind of have an idea, like most of the times, like especially as the season progresses and you kind of see how guys are throwing. Most times it's pretty set in stone when you have like those high end relievers who've been doing it for a long time. But you know, if you're kind of like that middle role, like you don't really know when you're throwing, it really comes down to communication. Uh, and makes things so much easier. The fact of, hey, this is kind of where you're looking at in the lineup too. Like we're looking for you at this part of the lineup. If there's at least for as a left-handed pitcher, like they got a couple lefties at the bottom of the lineup or even at the top. It's like, hey, start looking here. So like every time the phone rings, you're ready to go, but you kind of have an idea of when you're throwing, the how the game flow goes, stuff like that kind of helps. But anytime they can communicate and make things easier on you to kind of just be ready to go makes things a whole lot easier.
No doubt. Communication, I'm sure Doc and your whole staff prior, you guys there. I've heard nothing but great about the communication. Quick question, quick answer, and then I'm going to go with my longer question. Do you watch the standings at this point in the season?
No, I personally don't. Maybe like you'll see it like come up on the TV or something, or like, you know, some ballparks have it, but I mean, I don't really kind of look at it at this point of the year now.
It's not standings watching time, scoreboard watching time. But you guys have been 12-12 in your last 24 games. So, you know, you kind of, you know, hit or miss here or there. But you gained, I think, 2.5 games or 2 games during that span. Does it feel like you gained games in the standings, even though you're not watching?
No, I mean, honestly, no, I didn't expect to hear that. You know, like it hasn't been the best stretch for us, you know, but at this point, would you rather have it in May and June than, you know, late in the year? Like, it's all part of it. Every team's going to go through it. I know, like, all the pieces we brought in, everyone just expected us to just absolutely crush it. And I think even part of us was like, you know what, we got all the pieces here. Let's just go out and do our thing. But it's a long season. You know, everyone kind of goes through it a little bit. So, uh, we'd rather have it now, but you know, I think it's everyone has the end goal of where we want to be, not necessarily like how things are going in May and June. Obviously, they're important, but we understand it's a long season, and we're going to get there and just kind of keep plugging away.
Was there any extra juice, fire last night when it was must-see TV for me? I'm stuck on the airplane, and I'm like, I need to see the first Skenes Ohtani at bat. And I need to see the second one. Was there juice as far as in the locker room? Like, I kind of want to make sure I'm out there in time. You know, get my fleece on in time, so I'm out there to see that.
Yeah, 100. I think we knew who we were going to face with between Jones and Skenes. You know, they're both really young, both good, really young pitchers with really bright futures. So, especially when you see two electric arms like that, both throwing over 100 to start the game. So, I think, yeah, it was pretty impressive to see. And like, I mean, you could tell early on, even especially from the crowd, like everybody was into it. After every single pitch, there was like oohs and ahs, collapse. So it wasn't just like at the end of innings or after ends at bat. So everyone was pretty locked in from the get go.
But what's it like to watch your guys' lineup? Because sometimes maybe teams have maybe one of the guys that you guys have up there at the top of the lineup, but you guys have 3 MVP candidates at the top of your lineup. To be able to watch Mookie, Freddie, and Shohei, you guys have to be confident and walk into every single part knowing this lineup is exactly what we got and exactly what we need.
Oh, it's kind of mind-boggling to even think about, you know, because you see it on a daily basis. So like, I wouldn't say you get used to it, but you just like most of the time they're all getting on. You know what I mean? So like Will
Yeah.
Smith, our 4-hole hitters, most of the time is hitting in the first inning. So it's more. I feel like it's more crazy if you don't see that, which is kind of crazy to think about. But I mean, just 3 future Hall of Famers like that, just absolutely right on that track. Just get to see them every single day, right at the top of the lineup. I'm sure it's it's not fun to face to begin the ball game. You're trying to get settled in, and those are the three guys you got to see right from the get-go. So just being able to see them on a daily basis, and you got guys who are super incredible behind them. Will Smith, I know Muncie's banged up right now, and Teoscar. You got Teoscar in the 5 or 6 hole. That's crazy to think about.
That's you actually said about Muncie being banged up. 12-12 in your last 24 games. How much does he mean to a lineup that has 3 MVPs, that has, a Teoscar doing what he's doing? You have Jason Hayward coming off the bench some nights. You have Rookie of the Year candidates from last year down in AAA. But how much does Muncie's at-bats affect this lineup? And now that he's out, is that something that is kind of going into a little bit of the Dodgers scoring drought? Not a regular team scoring drought, but a Dodgers scoring drought.
I kind of look at it as the timing doesn't line up great with him going out and then us going scuffling a little bit. But I think he just puts really good at bats. He's another threat to go deep at any time. So someone you always have to be wary of. So it just kind of passes the baton to the next guy. If you're not one to face him, or if you're trying to nitpick and then you miss, or he gets on base or walks, things like that. It just continues moving things down the line, giving guys opportunity with runners in scoring position. So it's huge. So I think he's doing well. So hopefully he gets back soon. But we definitely miss him having him in the lineup.
For everybody just listening on the podcast, my guy Yarborough is wearing the just absolute fire black diamond necklace that you 100% bought for the length that you bought it for, and you put it outside your shirt. So I'm painting the picture for everybody who's just listening.
I appreciate that.
But it looks
you don't buy
really
that
good.
To put it inside the t-shirt.
You don't buy that to put underneath your t-shirt. All my chains, they stay under the shirt. Just like Scott's biceps. Scott's biceps, he has sleeveless shirts. See, look
there you go.
Kip's chain game is always great.
My black one is it's being fixed right now.
It's being fixed.
That one is.
But your black
nice.
diamond necklace brings me and reminds me of the fact that Aroldis Chapman pitched last night. Did you get to see that? And are you impressed as a guy that has changed roles, is thrown in the bullpen, knows what it's like? And, you throw upper 90, so it's kind of the same. He reared
90,
back.
90.
Yeah, upper 90, 90.7, 90.8, upper 90.
Yeah, we'll touch it. We'll get there.
Right. That's what you need. But were you impressed with that as a fellow left-handed pitcher, that this dude is everybody's throwing hard? I'm still the beast in this league.
Yeah, same. Me and him, same guy. So,
the Cuban missile, the American missile. You're the American missile. He's the Cuban missile.
His biceps are probably the size of my thighs, but
don't.
Dude, it's impressive to think about. 104. I played with him last year in KC before we both ended up getting traded, and just seeing how massive he is and just what he can kind of do in the weight room, it's special. And then you kind of see him go through his routine in the bullpen before he comes in and what he does in the game. He's been doing that way for a long, long time. So, but 104 last night and just pumping it. Here it is, boys. Try to hit it. That's pretty impressive anytime you can see that. But I don't have that in the tank, so I don't get the luxury of that. Okay, but have you ever seen anybody sweat more than Aroldis Chapman before he goes in a game? I don't know. I pitched last night too, so I can tell you right now that was probably one of the more humid games we had last night, especially coming from LA to Pittsburgh. That was a big difference. But man, he gets himself geared up. I don't know what he does or how he does it, but he definitely lets you know he's working hard out there.
It's a steam room.
Well, he steam rooms after the game, but I'm telling you, I think he's the only guy that goes into a steam room to stop sweating. He sweats so much. It is one inning, and it is just draining from his hat.
So the sweating aside, would you rather have the Skenes fastball or the Chapman fastball if we gave you a superpower?
Those are speedballs.
Yes.
Those are
death balls.
I don't know, man. Just pure off heater, I'd probably say Chapman. Did you also see that's his sinker that he throws harder than his four seam, just for whatever reason? It's unbelievable. I don't know how that works, but yeah, I'll take that.
Dude, the pitch we were going over to Ohtani that got him later, in the whatever, eighth inning or
Eighth
whatever
inning.
it was. Yeah. That movement was, as Kip mentioned, also I don't want this to hit me in the face.
Yeah.
I have no idea where this is going. This is not.
Yeah, the slight, you don't know where
normal.
it's going to go, just adds a little emphasis to it too, I'm sure.
Survive to get another at bat.
Yes, exactly. And your career, survive just your career in general for it not to hit you in the face and you swing at it. Okay, so one more on Pirates pitching. We were debating the All-Star game and what it means to market the sport. So we do have a representative from every team that makes it, right? That's a thing every year. Do you think that we should keep in mind a hotshot rookie to display to the world, especially if they're putting up numbers? So Paul Skenes is a perfect example because he ends up starting his season a little bit late. This actually happens pretty frequently where you get a rookie who appears in May and you're like, he doesn't have the same body of work as player X, but a lot of people would love to see this dude against this big lineup on the other side.
No, I think definitely would be must-watch TV if he got into the All-Star game. I think it all just, for me, would come, like you said, body of work. When did he come up? Depending on how many innings compared to like the rest of the league. If it's like close enough, I don't see any problems with it. It's just more going to be like if he has like half the innings as a starter or stuff like that, where it might get a little like, maybe this guy's been doing it all year kind of thing. That's where it is. Like where you see guys been grinding it out all year. It's not Skenes' fault by any means. It's just he got a late start for, just getting drafted last year and he's already dominating the big leagues. He just had a little get ready in AAA there for a little bit.
I think we talked about it a little bit too. The only person it really hurts is that guy who might make his only All-Star game of his career.
Right.
That gets pushed out. That's I feel like is the one downside where that guy maybe doesn't get in for the sake of the game. They're going to put in a Skenes over this is his one close chance of getting in, and it really hurts a player like that.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else, it benefits, I think, the game of baseball, the fans, it doesn't benefit the hitters that have to face them. But
sure. But I know what you're saying. Like there's been players like that, Yarbs. I think Nick Markakis was one of those where he didn't make one until like the second to last year or something. Yeah, where you're like, this dude's done a lot for the game. People know who he is. He's been close. He just hasn't gotten there. And if you're weighing, a situation like that, it's tough. I mean, pitching, I don't want to say you can always add a guy because there's still limitations. But Ryan, we get to a few days before and all of a sudden there's a million replacements. Guys aren't feeling great. They, get a start push where they can't then pitch. But anyway, just was bringing it up.
Here, I'll make it apples to apples. Paul Skenes has the same amount of innings as you, exact same numbers. He has a few more strikeouts than you. I mean, same ERA, same ERA plus.
Right.
Are you upset? Are you upset if he goes in over you? I understand you understand that the game, they market people, but that's your all-star pick, and it would have been Yarborough or it would have been Skenes, and they take Skenes because he's the next hotness.
I think you at all levels you're going to be like just upset for the fact that you were so close to making an all-star team, especially for me who's probably never even sniffed one. So like at least at this point in my career, to be able to even be getting that close, I think there's going to be disappointment just for the fact of, I could have made it, but I mean, I think it's kind of weird. It's kind of out of your hands. You did everything you could. It's just tough at that point. They're going to be a little upset because you were that close and just didn't make it. Nothing against like who the other guy was. You know what I mean?
I see you're trying a little bit. Maybe we just need to grow that mustache out just a little bit more. That might attract some more voters. I see it in the shadows there. Mm-hmm. You're working.
The shadows are giving a lot more help than it needs to be right now. I'll tell you that much.
Well, the more we talk about this, the more I do think that, like the one commissioner designation wouldn't be the worst thing in the world so that you don't have a veteran pitcher, say, missing out on their one chance. Like you just add one.
Commissioner designation?
Well, that's what they did for the veterans. That's what they did for Miggy and Pujols. If he's like, hey, they huddle up and they're like, there's a guy that really should be here. We don't want to take it away from anyone else. I don't know.
Let's call it a player designation.
League. Oh, right. PA, okay. Whatever. They all come together. Anyway.
Because here it is. Your ERA plus is 132. Paul Skenes' ERA plus 136. I'm just saying. If Scott's pining for Skenes, I'm pining for Yarborough.
That's so messed up to put it that way. I'm
just
pining
saying,
for both.
I'm just saying.
I'm trying to change the rules. So
to add Skenes.
Yeah.
You got to choose. We live in a
vote.
world. We live in a world of you got to choose.
That's why we have this show. That's why we debate it. All right, a couple more things. So first off, just playing off this, how often is this talked about in the clubhouse? Not just this combo, but I'm saying like All-Star game. The ballots just opened. Our guys talking about, hey, I've never been there. Maybe this is my shot. Like maybe even asking a guy like, should I try and put something extra special on my social media, get some more attention this time around? My agent's telling me to do this and that. Like, and if not, what is talked about right now, baseball wise, in the clubhouse that stands out? Like, try and take us inside there, because obviously it's not just aside from the game strategy talk.
Yeah, I don't think any of that has been honestly talked about, at least from my perspective or what I've heard in the clubhouse. Like you said, they just opened the poll, so maybe I'll hear some stuff as it comes about and hear how that goes. But I mean, we got a lot of guys who have a lot of All-Star game experience, so I'm sure if anyone has questions, we got the guys with answers. So that's not really to talk about. Like right now in the locker room, I think just because there was so much buildup of it, the whole Jones and Skenes matchups, we're just kind of like, all right, let's see what these guys have. Excited to kind of see what they bring to the table, kind of things. I mean, from a pure baseball standpoint, it was more of our schedule that we've been having the last couple of days with our whole flights cross country the last couple of days. I think everyone was very curious how that came about. Between New York, go home for 3 games, then come back to the East Coast to play in New York again. So I think those are the kind of little things that you kind of start thinking about in May and June as it comes about.
I want to hit on that a little bit because your schedule sucked. Like, how is that? Do you guys see that ahead of time, or are you like, hey guys, we got a day game tomorrow and we're packing to go out east, and then do you look ahead and go, holy crap, what? This is what we're doing?
Yeah.
Like, how is there not complaining, because I think baseball players like Kip complain a lot. Guys like me, I'm just happy to be there. I never complained. But how is that taken, and are there any steps taken, like sleep doctors, all that stuff, hydration, or the long flights?
Yeah, well, it was more of like, I think you kind of saw like, because once you get in spring training, you kind of look at the whole schedule. You're just like, oh, that'll be fun, like those kind of comments. And then as it gets closer, you kind of see it a little bit more, especially once you get to New York. I'm like, all right, guys, let's go home for 3 days before coming all the way back over here. Like I said, it's no complaining. It's just more of like curiosity of like, especially when they're back to back like that. Most of the time they're kind of like spread out, where you have like one like every couple weeks or once a month, things like that. But they talk to us. They give us a bunch of stuff on the planes. Like the drip drops, the right stuff, the hydration, things like that. They kind of talked about like wearing compression stuff on the long flights that are like 5 or 6 hours. Nothing like the crazy talks or like the sleeping of when we went to Korea or anything like that. But still, like more of the just be mindful. We got a game tomorrow and it's a long flight. So luckily we've had off days in between, but I'm sure at some point it'll be one of those long flights and you got to get up and play right away the next day.
Yeah. MLB is trying to screw over the Dodgers. That's what I see. That's what I see. It's not what Yarborough said. That was what Scotty Braun said.
Well, they're pimping them out though too.
Right. I mean, they're selling their commodity.
It's a showpiece.
They went to Korea.
Which I get. I think that's just part of it, because especially like you said, we're have all the guys we brought in and won all the primetime games. Like we got on Sunday we have a night game, the ESPN night game, just for the fact, and then we fly back right after. So it's all part of it. We understand it's just part of being with the Dodgers. It's just kind of funny when you see like little things, parts of the schedule like that.
Red Sox, Yankees.
Right.
They had to put in rules in the CBA because they weren't giving them the Monday off day, and so they came up with rules like, hey, the Dodgers can't play a East Coast game at night and have a game the next day because you're getting in to LA at like 7 a.m.
Right. Yeah. It becomes a competitive disadvantage, and that's when you have to rethink it a little bit. Okay. So last one, just painting a quick scenario for you. You're a free agent. You like 2 cities the same. They offer you the same exact amount of money and all of that. One says, hey, extra caveat, we might play 10% of our games on the road.
Like home games?
Yes. Which one are you choosing? I'm making it very easy.
I saw you guys talking about this, the whole with Oakland and everything. It's a tough ask, especially with family and everything, and trying to get them to fall all over the place. getting that a little bit right now, even like when they travel on the road, coming to want to come see some new ballparks, like first time being here in Pittsburgh, so the family was here. So just being in hotels, it's going to be kind of with two little kids running around a hotel room. So I would say like it'd be weird maybe based on what the teams look like. But yeah, it's definitely would be interesting to ask for that for like play 10 for however many games that would be on somewhere else.
Yeah, and it's less of a blast when I'm asking a player, because we're going to ask multiple players about this, and more of the fact that, there was a claim that it would help player recruitment, and Kratz went very hard against that and was like, no, that would hurt player recruitment. Telling them that they have 10 extra road games is not going to help anyone. It is what it is. Obviously, there's other factors, like you said, team, money, etc. But if we're in a vacuum, you're not helping recruiting.
I'm sorry, Yarbs. Your wife is not. She's not signing off on that.
No.
Yeah, unless it's Korea or Tokyo or kind of cool experiences while you're there, things like that. That'd be different. But yeah, like somewhere like within the U.S., depending on, like you said, they told you in advance where they're going to be or cool cities like that. But I don't know how that all works. I'm sure we don't get that kind of information.
Yeah, they're not giving you a stipend to go play their scheduled 8 games in Nashville. And I got roasted on Twitter for saying this by a solid group of future A's fans. Yes, future Las Vegas A's fans. They roasted me because they were like, "What do you know?" And I'm like, honestly, I would have signed. If it doesn't matter because it's a big league team. It's a big difference when you're talking about recruiting a Ryan Yarbrough, somebody who's had a stellar career, recruiting a Jason Kipnis, recruiting a Trey Turner. Like, way different. Not apples to apples.
That's not a bad idea, though. What if they do, like, where those 10 games or 10% or whatever it was? What if it's like Field of Dreams for this series, and you do cool spots for each one?
That's different.
I'm saying maybe that's how you.
But you wouldn't get the promise.
Cool,
like
that would be pretty cool.
Yes, exactly. So there's a balance there. But you're right. Like Turner, Wheeler, guys like that, they signed locally, like turned down less money at other places just to be closer to home. So anyway, Yarbs, we appreciate the time, dude. I know we were extended, but we hadn't talked to you in a bit, and you're on the road, so we figured an extra 10 minutes with Yarbs.
No, the kids are there.
Crushed it, man.
The kids are there.
They were. They left. They're going to New York. They'd rather hang out in New York than hang out with
okay.
There you go.
Wives love Chicago and New York. And Pittsburgh. That's nice of her. She's a grinder. She's a grinder for going to Pittsburgh.
I just want to see all 30 stadiums. This is like one of the few ones we both had left, so
that's cool.
At least had to do it once,
What's another stadium you have left? Real quick.
Sorry. I think I only got St. Louis left.
That's good.
But I
think guys go there this year?
She has a couple left. Yeah, we'll go there later this year. I knocked out Wrigley and Cincy this year, but yeah, most of those central stadiums where the old schedule kind of limited me from being able to get them.
I never got San Diego.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. Never got San Diego.
I knocked it off for the second to last day of my career.
Yeah.
Oh, the second last year of my career.
We're not going to have these combos soon because of the way the schedule works, but I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, Ryan, awesome catching up.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, go crush it
awesome,
tonight.
Guys.
We'll talk to
it.
you soon. Ryan Yarbrough with us on FT Live, a little extended session today. It was great. Had a lot to get to, and just a cool series to lock in on with Pittsburgh and LA. I mean, two teams coming from very different worlds in terms of how they operate, but it all kind of collides. So let's take a moment to preview a big matchup. We do that thanks to SeatGeek, the official ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball. They've got you covered for all of your baseball ticket needs. Go check out the app. Go check out our code as well, FOUL, F-O-U-L. If you want to support the FT fam when you're getting tickets, this is the spot to go look at. If you don't have the app, go download it. I'll drop a link in there for you. So let's look at a matchup tonight. Anything we're excited about? If you need a quick ticket,
Yankees. Pablo Lopez versus Stroman. I think a good pitching matchup.
And will the Twins ever beat the Yankees?
It's regular season.
What are they, 0-5 or 0-6? Something like that.
And don't they have the playoff against them?
No, that
ended last year.
Yeah.
That's right. No, I think that's the best pitching matchup that I see that I would love to go and watch.
No, that's good. And they didn't beat the Yanks. I mean, the Yanks didn't make the playoffs, but they still are owned by the Yanks in the playoffs.
Oh, good point.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what I was saying.
Point. Yeah, you're
right. They cracked it in
the regular season.
Yes, but Przinsky, the former Twin, is on here who will usually say he doesn't feel like they went over the hump yet because they still haven't won a division series. They won a wild card round last year. So anyway, it's a good call. It's semantics, but
they won.
But
It's a tough team to play right now. I mean,
the Yanks,
the Twins need it. The Twins need Pablo Lopez to be what Pablo Lopez is on that rotation.
Yeah.
And it is a big, it's between that game or the Colorado-St. Louis game. Kidding. I really don't. I think that's the matchup. I think early right now, game that's going on right now, Orioles-Jays is a bigger matchup than I think. If we were to look back in the season, this is a huge matchup for the Blue Jays. And it's a day game, so we can't really we can't get tickets to that one anymore. But, man, the Yankees, if you're not watching the Yankees right now, I don't really care who they're playing. You're missing out. That is must-watch TV right now with what Soto's doing, what Volpe's doing, what Judge is doing. How many consecutive extra base hits?
A lot.
Games
with
extra base hits?
He's on
my gosh.
fire right now. And they play Dodgers-Yankees this weekend. There was a good preview on Fair Territory. If you missed it with Alana and Ken, go check that out after this show. I'll just throw a couple others in there, but Sonny Gray is pitching for St. Louis tonight. I'm always a fan of watching Sonny pitch.
Colorado.
I understand. And then the other one that I'm locking in on is Javier Assad, who's been awesome this year, and he's fun to watch when he's got it, against Hunter Green, who also is kind of being overshadowed now because he used to be like the 100-mile-an-hour starter, and now Skenes swings by. But Cincinnati's starting to play some good ball. We might get to them later. Everybody's involved in the National League wild card. So
I'm not going to say they're playing good ball yet.
Better ball. Well, and they beat the Rockies.
They played the Rockies.
I get it. Yes.
That's a
nice
sweep.
comeback
You have
win
to
for
sweep
them.
them.
You got to sweep them.
Yep.
Some teams don't.
You can't wait till the end. You can't wait till the worst bullpen in the league comes in to score 5 or 6 runs. Like the Reds have to do more, and I think their lineup is capable of doing more. Spencer Steer's homer yesterday, I think, could really, really propel him to have a great year. But anyway.
Yeah, and they should get reinforcements soon. So with over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. Baseball season's in full swing. They've got your tickets to every game. They've got concerts, festivals, the whole deal. It's backed by their buyer guarantee. And they're the only site that lets you return your tickets ahead of the event with swaps. It's great. Check it out. And our code is FOUL, FOUL, for $20 off tickets at SeatGeek. That's $20 off your first purchase with promo code FOUL. Make sure you click the link in the description to this episode to download the app. I'll drop it in the chat for all the live people right now as well. All right, we're back, and we're about to talk to another guest coming up. Is he ready, or should we move on? Just checking.
Cross the seas connection.
I mean, yeah, it takes longer.
Oh, okay, I can dive in. Ump Show time next.
Steer right.
Oh, look, we're back to the Cubs. They pulled off a nice walk-off dub. Your boy Mike Tauchman crushing it for Chicago. Cubs dominating the crosstown rivalry. But earlier in the game, loudmouth, excessive, always, just yelling at people, Nico Hoerner.
Fire
I'm
starter.
so sarcastic. Nico Hoerner is just trouble, okay? Gets ejected because he was just giving it to the ump. He's flailing all around. He picks up home plate, tosses it.
Do we have the video?
It was a pitch right down the middle. Everything I'm saying is just take the opposite of it. It was a
lie.
bad call. Nico is one of the most mature, appropriate, quiet.
He's an angel.
He is an
angel. He is a
He got
sweetheart of a
booted.
kid. I know.
You know him, right?
I do. I've trained with him a couple off seasons. Do we have the video of it to show people?
I think we do. Oh, we have. Okay, here. Let's run it.
Outside corner, and Nico very frustrated, and he's been ejected.
Who does he think he is? So he threw up the arms. I'm guessing that's why.
That's
But
it?
I guarantee, because the umps, they're, especially once they get behind home plate, they are friendly, talkative at each base throughout the series. Once they get behind home plate, they are a different person, and they are thin-skinned, and they don't like to be shown up at all. No one does,
Sure.
but especially when they're behind home plate. That's why if you have your arms down behind you, something, and you could be saying something that you're not supposed to be saying, but people in the stands, you're not showing them up because they have no idea what you're saying. When the arms go up, now everybody's like, oh, look at him. He's showing him up. Granted, also taken into effect, this is a kid who says like 20 words a day. He is never in trouble. He's the nicest kid in the world. And also, it's like they factor in, hey, it was a close pitch on the outside. It's not like it was down the middle.
It missed.
It
missed.
But
you, just for now we're at I'm trying to always find out the level. Just for throwing up your arms, like I see guys get pissed at themselves for letting a heater go that they wanted to hit.
Each
right? Like
ump
you
has
can
a
make that
different level.
case like I wanted to swing at that. I had to protect it.
Well, you're not going to stare straight back at him and go.
I
understand why he
know.
got,
but like, come on, it's too soft. It's too much.
They need to have thicker skin, and they need to realize there's a small chance you might have got it wrong, and they don't. They'll look at it later and then come back the next day, and they'll be like, "Hey, you know what, Kratzy, I missed that the other day," and you're like, "I don't care about your apology. Like, I want the call. Like this is how you kind of honestly feel. You're like, I don't want your apology. I want the right call when I'm at the plate." So, but they need to have a little bit thicker skin because sometimes when they're back there, they have the quickest trigger and they don't want to hear a single word. And it's just like, you can't even, I can't ask one question. I can't say one thing. You just screwed me in front of an entire stadium. I can't say one thing.
I think the arms up was a little much.
That's what it was.
A little much. I think it was a little much. And I'll be honest. This is like, I don't know what the clash of the Titans is. This is the clash of two incredibly nice guys.
Who was them?
Vic Carapazzo.
Yeah.
Vic and I came up through the minor leagues together. We were in extended together. He's a
good dude.
Clearwater, Tampa, Dunedin native. His father-in-law was Garcia, the umpire who called the Jeffrey Mayer over the fence catch for Jeter. Like, he's been umping for a long time, and he is so nice.
Yeah.
He's the father of 4 daughters. Like, this guy is like so nice. So it was like nice on nice. I bet neither one of those dudes cursed at each other. It was like, are you kidding me?
If he just didn't throw up the arms and said exactly what he said, he's still in the game.
Okay.
I guarantee it.
But again, even if he said, are you kidding me? Like, in the moment, everything's going, and are you kidding me? Like, it's I'm pointing it towards you and the demonstrative showing them up.
We need to rewrite the rules, though. That's too much.
Like,
I
you're not
went
rewriting
to
people's opinions.
I went to an NBA playoff game this year. I hadn't been in a minute, and I see that every 5 minutes. And some people may be like, I don't want that, right? But endless times, and it's tough to call plays like that or call fouls, right? And you're a ref. You see a call or a missed call, and the player is like, what? Right? Endless times, like 20 times a game, they do this. Like, where's the call?
Because you don't know what happened during the at bat either. Because there's a lot of times I'm having a conversation during the at bat where it might be right on the black, and I'm like, "Is that as far as it goes?"
As far as it goes,
and they're like, "Yep." And then it'll be just a ball out from that, and they call a strike, and I'm like, "I thought you said that's as far as it goes." And you're like, "What the hell is that about?" And that's where you start getting frustrated. The inconsistency. I'm not saying it's not a tough job that umpires have.
Right.
That ball, especially now, is moving a lot faster. They have a hard time. We get that. I want them to understand that they're not going to get every call right.
Can't throw them out.
Can't throw them out there?
I agree. You can't throw them out. But
can't raise your arms,
you
but
can't
also
raise
can't
your
throw
arms.
your arms. Throw them out there.
Yeah, it's like,
if it's a guy you're constantly that's doing that, like if it's I'm trying to think of a player where it's like a Draymond Green of a baseball where it's like, okay, I have a quick leash with him or quick trigger.
Jed Lowry.
It's
Jed Lowry.
Nico
Every
Hoerner
pitch.
is not the guy.
Oh, how is that, Jed? It's like, why are you complaining, Jed? Every pitch is a ball.
Nico probably started with, "Sir, excuse me, sir, can I say something real quick to you?" And like,
"Sir, why did you miss it?"
Yeah.
What did you call me?
May I please ask you one question?
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. I've seen worse that doesn't get booted, and it just sucks to lose the player in a series like this. I get it. It's Cubs White Sox, but it's Cubs White Sox.
Yeah.
that's
Hands down.
a big game.
Hands
for
down,
Chicago.
walking towards him and then slowly past him and slowly, if you curve the route towards the dugout, you can say so much worse. But if you stand and talk to him and then show him up in any way, they just don't want that. It's the physical side of being shown up.
A catcher turning around and saying, "You sucked," is different than "you sucked."
Yeah.
Or
100%.
Or come on, we need that pitch. You turn around and you go, "We need that pitch."
Yeah.
Way different, exact same words. That you're even taught that as a catcher. Like, keep your head down. Don't let anybody know you're talking to me, and we'll talk all game.
Yeah.
Okay. One more. We have something from the Angels and Padres. Go ahead, Kratz. I don't know this one. I didn't see this yet.
Jackson Merrill. You go to the call on the field.
What's the situation?
Oh,
Did he
tag
tag
That's
him?
okay. I was like, what's the
I'm
call
like,
here?
what am I looking at?
Did he tag it? So
did he
obviously
tag
knee,
him
look at the
before
knee.
he reached the base, right? So Jackson Merrill's busting it down the line. I can't see because my eyes are.
This is
the
the one
screen's
he was
far.
originally called safe, and then they got together and
they overturned
it to call out on the field before it was
Yes.
even reviewed. And that's a big thing because a lot of times when they can't tell, it's whatever was called on the field. So I guarantee if they kept the safe call and then reviewed it, he would have stayed safe, but they ended up changing it to out.
So
then they reviewed it, and it stays as an out.
Right. Because if they can't determine on
Because
video,
it
it's whatever was put on the field.
So it was a
which
very
is the
big deal once
inconclusive.
they got together and overturned it before the review.
Right.
And I don't know what the ruling is on that. Like, do you ask, hey, can you guys get together? Did they ask, like, hey, I got blocked out because the umpire that's calling that play is staying behind the first baseman as he's flipping it? He can't see that. He sees him safe. He doesn't see the glove coming here because the first baseman, the line, is in the way.
I don't have a problem with them overturning it. My problem is New York. My problem is the review. This is why we have cameras. We should have the technology to get it right, to do a side-by-side angle of when and if he's safe or out. That's why we have review.
You're saying they need more review? Or they just
No,
need to get
because
it right?
no, my problem is that even when we were playing, it's like, how many times were you sure that they're showing it up on the big screen at the stadium, and you're like, okay, he's out. We got him. They come back like safe, and you're like, what the hell are they looking at in New York? Why do we have them here?
My thing is, and we talked about it with Mike Petriello, all the tech that we have.
Mm-hmm.
There is 12 high-tech Hawkeye cameras at every stadium that can tell if a guy's finger placement behind the ball, these are the Edgertronic cameras, finger placement is a little bit off. But we can't tell if a glove is made contact with a pant leg.
Yeah.
With the ball in it or not in it before it touches first base. I'm calling, as the kids say, cap. I'm calling cap. They're not willing to go that deep into it because they feel like they want to keep the human element into it. But this biometric stuff,
it's so frustrating.
They have so much biometric information that you can't tell me they don't have some type of, oh, hey, it was this or this or this.
But don't you think if they had that, they would use it?
No. I don't.
Why?
Because I saw the Hawkeye system for fair and foul balls, the same exact system that they used in tennis. They showed it to us. This might have been like 2012.
Whether the ball lands in or not.
Whether it lands in or not.
Okay.
And you see a hard shot in tennis, and the line is here, and the ball looks like it hit this much ground because it's detecting any movement. So the ball isn't just like a one little spot.
It's like a little oval.
It's a line.
Yeah.
On grass, it was like it detected like a foot-long swath that you would have been like, I see that, that's foul. Hawkeye on the same ball, or whatever the system is, I shouldn't say Hawkeye for that, the same system that they use for tennis, it was this long. And they were like, we can't use that because grass is giving off I don't know if it's the wind, they didn't explain it to us, but
what about a tag play? Like the
that's
one
what I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why I don't know what kind of system. I just know it's incredible technology.
Tennis has Wimbledon grass.
Okay, that's like dirt grass. Like that's not long grass. It's not even turf.
I don't know. I just
it's just frustrating. It's New York. The reviews frustrate the hell.
But we
out
know
of me.
now who was in New York. The umpiring crew that was in New York, right?
Do we?
No, we never do.
I was going to say
because list it usually, right?
Who's in New York?
Yeah.
Oh,
sometimes they do.
I don't know.
I would love to know.
I would ask a bunch. I would get pissed off, and I'm like, tell me who's in New York
Right,
now.
right.
They're like,
Who
no.
is
And I'm
this
like,
guy?
Tell me who's
Give
in
me his
New York.
number.
Yeah,
His bank account number, the whole deal.
because
All
I
right.
will wait till the next series we have them.
Let's get to our next guest, who is across the pond, ready to watch the Rollin' Phillies taking on the Mid-Mets. Doug Glanville from ESPN
Mid-Mets.
joining us right now. Doug, great to have you on the show here for the first time.
Oh,
We
man.
appreciate you. We're really getting into it today. So first off, how excited are you to call a game this weekend for ESPN with these two teams, and what's it like out there?
Hey guys, no, it's extremely exciting for me. I mean, partly is I have family here, and my dad was from Trinidad and Tobago, and two of my uncles spent over 2 decades in England before one went back to Trinidad and one came to the United States. So I got to see a few of my cousins today, and so that's personal. It's special because we, got to, be part of the game that I've loved for since eternity, and had a chance to make a living and career and do so much with it, and now bring it kind of home to some family. So that's a big thing for me. And obviously played many years with the Phillies, was a Philly fan growing up, and to kind of have this opportunity to connect all those dots here abroad is a lot of fun. It's cool.
So is this even a work trip? Like, this is just a personal trip for you. You're going over to see your boyhood dream team that you played for. So it's great. I love it when Philly fans get to call the Phillies games. That's really awesome of you. Appreciate it, Doug.
Yeah, it's one of those like pinch you moments, like, oh yeah, this is my job actually. So I got here like Wednesday morning, but left Tuesday night, and I just walked over to the stadium down the street, and I was like, it's surreal. It's West Ham's home stadium, so you have this sort of soccer, as we would call it, football, the madness behind that here combined with baseball, and it's hard to even comprehend like how this is all connecting, but I see the excitement, and it's great that baseball's doing this. They're really trying to expand the interest throughout the world.
I love it. Doug, Jason Kipnis here. Just want to say first, big fan, read your book. You kind of just hinted or hit it on it at the very end of your sentence right there. How is the excitement over there? Is it buzzing? Are there a lot of like banners and people like are excited about the game? Is it a lot of tourists and people coming from America, or are they filling up the stadiums themselves?
Well, it's to be determined, man, and good to see you, Jason. Like the tomorrow is the Fan Fest, so that's where you're going to see like people come out and start getting into it. I've walked around a lot. I've traveled a little bit around the area. I had an interesting conversation with someone who works at the Lego store, because we were talking about Harry Potter, and it kind of parlayed this discussion about baseball versus cricket, or baseball versus, how American football has kind of made some headway here. And, she thought that it related to consistency. Like if you consistently show up and you keep putting it out there, you're going to get some interest. And so I'm excited to find out tomorrow, because you have Chase Utley and the home run derby, and who's the ambassador of Europe, and a lot of potential here.
Do you understand the game of cricket with family there?
A little bit. Man, I definitely have no excuse, because my dad played in Trinidad, so I have some understanding of it. But the fact that there's no quote foul territory per se, your show, I don't know what you would do. You wouldn't have a show anymore, because you'd have to name it something else.
That's true.
So you're saying our show doesn't play with cricket fans? Is that what you're saying, Doug? We can call it the overs, we're just the overs.
The sixes or
Fair.
something. I have to call it
The
something.
sixes. Yeah, but then people would think we're talking about Toronto.
We have insurance for this. Fair territory with Ken.
We have, Ken is fair. Ken's show is better in England, I guess.
Yeah,
Than our
Ken
show.
plays. He does have a lot of England fans. So.
It's foul territory.
Yeah. Is the baseball knowledge strong there? I mean, I'm generalizing, but is there a future for MLB in London? Like, is this a spot they should be focusing on? We know about places like the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, Mexico, certain countries in Asia, obviously, that are crazed for baseball. Like, is this a good spot to focus on?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, because you have the NFL to look to, and that gives you a window into, football versus American football. And the fact that, people are talking about it, there's definitely some much more understanding about the game, because the NFL has been pretty consistent. They had NFL Europe and all those things going on. So yeah, I say it's a great opportunity, because London is so much of a gateway into Europe. And, I went down south to Brighton, and, I got to see how, wow, like right over that body of water is France. It's like it's all there. And I think once you kind of connect those dots, you see the potential that you could get that expansion going. So I don't know if you're talking about teams, but interest, sure, there's definitely some window of opportunity here.
Soccer, or as they call it over there, football, is the world sport. We always look to the NFL like, okay, well, what can baseball do that the NFL does? Why aren't we looking to soccer? European football, La Liga, Premier League, Championship, all those leagues. What are they doing as, somebody that's not a native, but you have family over there? What are they doing that baseball could adopt? Because when they bring their teams over to America, they're just friendly matches. They're not playing like regular season matches. So are we hitting this wrong with the MLB?
Yeah, and you talk about no such thing as friendly. They don't play around, man. I mean, I learned today, like, my cousin, made the mistake of like wearing the wrong uniform into the wrong section, and they had to like escort him out of there. Like, so you gotta be careful. But that spirit is something that is generational. It's like, it's like a political party, or you have these lines in the sand that people have. It's very deep and it's deep seated. I think baseball has that kind of tradition in the sense that there is that, Red Sox finally win, the Cubs finally win, and you could see generations of people coming together around like loving that same organization as it's passed down. That's what they have here, certainly with football, as we'll say soccer for our audience here. But there's no doubt that the loyalty is deep and it's rich, and Philly fans are tough, but I don't know if you could compare to like West Ham or something, right? They're gonna fight you, right? Like, so when you buy your tickets here, you have to buy in a specific section of where your team's fans are. You literally do not have an option of sitting in the other section. It's just not even an option. So
I don't think you want that option.
You don't want that option. You don't want to find out where that is. So there's a lot of spirit, and so I'm hoping that by being here, we do get these ideas about what Major League Baseball can do, and to kind of get inspired by that, because it's deep here. It is deep.
Well, I saw the Phillies kind of branding that they've done. They did that cool little Beatles tribute right there, and all the cool, fun marketing stuff they've done. What do you got on these two teams? What do you expect to see from them the next 2 days? I know we got Ranger Suarez and Manaea going the first game. What are you looking for, or forward to, I guess, for these next two games out there?
Look, the Phillies are playing really well, and they are an elite team. And they got off to a good start this year versus the last couple of years. And even then, the last couple of years, they still found themselves at the doorstep or in the World Series. So I'm excited to just watch like what they're bringing, because it's a chance for England, London, this area to see really one of the best teams, or probably one of the number one, number two team in baseball. And so I'm looking to see, how they embrace that ambassadorship in this moment, right? Like they have great pitching, they can hit, they score runs, they pretty much do everything well. And they're playing against the team, the Mets, who struggle on so many levels. So does that rivalry transcend into international waters, so to speak? But I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think the players are certainly enjoying it.
What is the one storyline that you're going to take in? You're doing all your research. You've watched games. What's the one storyline from the Mets that you're going to be talking about for this game, or that you want answers from when you get to talk to the teams at the media day?
Yeah, my big question for the Mets is just their talent and their ability to turn it around. Like it's almost like you could feel like there could be something that could click with this talent to be able to say, okay, Nemo's playing his best, Lindor's playing his best, Alonso, and you kind of go on Jeff McNeil, batting title. You're like, wait a minute, where are these guys? Right? They're in there, right? So I just kind of curious to hear like what that moment will look like for them, like what they think will get them locked in, or is it really irretrievable? And the motivation to be international stars in this moment, what does that do and trigger for the Mets? So does that jumpstart something different, those connections? And sometimes that's what it takes. You play in, I played in winter ball in Puerto Rico, and it was just a different perspective, and it sort of resets you. It's like going to Montreal when they had the Expos, and you're like, okay, it's not a lot of reporters. And you just get a different mindset. That's what I'm looking for from the New York Mets, because I see a lot of talent. I do see a lot of talent. And as many people, they certainly have spent the money. What's it going to look like in this next couple of games?
I just watched a roast on the flight over here. Do you have the guts for a one-game play to ask Pete Alonso what he thinks about being traded? Or is that not in your in your realm of what they want you to be asking questions? Because that's really what has been surrounding, besides what you just said about the Mets, what's been surrounding the Mets this year.
Yeah, will everybody be in this uniform, right? I mean, are they becoming a farm system for the playoffs this season? Yeah, it's a real question. It's an important question, and that I'm sure that will have to come up. If just trying to journalistically understand all the real factors, because that's a stressor for any player when like you could be gone, you could be out of there, or something could change your whole future. And that's not an easy part of the game, but it is a normal part of the business.
Doug, is there anything you can give us preview-wise for the broadcast, like anything special that you guys have planned, whether it's potentially an interview or any other topics that you definitely want to discuss? I mean, there's game calling, but then there's also conversation, which I think actually sometimes is overlooked when analyzing a broadcast. Like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, what are the convos? What are the topics going on? We've got an elite crew, right? Michael K talks for hours every day on a radio show in addition to games. Got you on there. Obviously, we don't need to hype you up any more than we already have. You know how much we love listening to you on TV and radio. And then Tim Kirkjian's a gem also. So anything we should look forward to?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun stuff. I mean, well, you think about, just the experience being here. That alone, there's so many stories about how these players, sometimes in their families, embrace this sort of opportunity to be in this ambassadorship. Chase Utley, for example, former teammate, I texted him, and he's, participating in Trafalgar Square in this home run derby. He says he doesn't want to blow out, of course, but and it's virtual. So, but the idea of that's really interesting to me, to share just about what he's doing in this new world. He's moved his family to London. I think there's a lot to talk about there, just that exchange and how he could lead what could be this sort of next wave of influence out there. One real fun story you guys may appreciate is over the last year, I kind of became cool with this band Star Sailor. They're a local British band, and they were like kind of band of the year, think of it that way, or new band, back when they broke in about 20 plus years ago. And I got inspired by a couple of their tracks and songs, and I've been in touch with the lead singer. So I wrote a poem inspired by them. That's going to be, something that we want to weave into the broadcast. So we'll see how that plays out. But it's fun because I wanted to bring something about like British culture, not just like a baseball thing, but just about, music that kind of ties this all together. So these kind of fun things, I think we're going to celebrate, really fully here in the next couple of days, and certainly part of the broadcast.
Oh, he buried the lead right there. See, that's the good stuff. I mean, obviously you got into a few other things, but then you finished that answer with, I just casually put together a poem. I have some friends that have a band like that. See, that's unique. Kratz was like, okay, that's cool.
I'm on it. I wouldn't expect anything less. You're setting the bar way too high now.
Yeah, exactly.
Way too high. And if you see Brzezinski while you're over there, because he's doing the Saturday game, ask him what his poem's looking like, okay?
Well, Doug, we appreciate you coming on. Enjoy the trip and the time out there in London, like you said. I mean, it doesn't even feel like work when you get to travel for a game like this. We're excited to hear the call on Sunday on ESPN with you and Kay and Kirkjian, and thanks for joining us. We love what you do.
All right, guys. Really appreciate you having me, and keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir. Doug Glanville joining us, former big leaguer, of course, and current analyst, and he's great. You can hear him on ESPN, and he's got his podcast with Jason Starkville, and you can follow him at Doug Glanville on Twitter. And just real quick before we get to our next guest, I mean, you'd get excited for something like this, even regardless of where the team's at, right? Also, I'm maybe being a little too harsh on the Mets. They're not far out from a wild card spot. I just
You're saying just like
don't
as a
see
player?
it. But
to
yeah, I
go over?
mean, no matter what, even if the team was 20 games under, you're going over to London. You
Absolutely.
get to experience something
Yeah,
different.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying for the Oakland thing, kind of where it's harder for people to sign there if you want to attract free agents. If their games that aren't at home are cool places like that, it becomes a much more popular place to sign.
Well, some guys want to go, but it depends. Doesn't it?
I
Some
wouldn't
guys
like
don't
I
want to
wouldn't
go
like
to
the
Asia.
Korea one.
That's what I was going to say. Just because of the body clock, and then you go back into the season, and you have the exhibition games. It's weird.
That's too far.
Okay.
And also, I didn't like it that it was opening day, and it's opening day of the MLB, and they're at, 5 a.m. games? Nobody's really getting up to watch them.
Didn't sell it.
Didn't really sell. It's
but
tough.
you're selling it to that. You're selling
it to that market.
Japan
There's a reason
and
for it.
Korea
But
market.
London's great. London would be awesome to do.
I enjoyed going to San Antonio in spring training. Like I'd never been to San Antonio before that, and like I enjoyed that. It was in the Alamo Dome, I think it was called.
I enjoy playing at a new stadium every single time I got to play there.
Mm-hmm.
So as a player, you enjoy it as a one-off, but when you're saying we're going to play 8 to 10 of our games not at home, that's another road trip.
Yeah.
You're not about that life if you're signing for $100 million.
Okay. Well, let's get into agreed. Let's get into a couple other topics right now with our weekly guest, Jonny Gomes, joining us for Magnus Data Dish. With Jonny today. So, first off, I heard you've got a little entertaining tour going on. We talked about Home Run Derby X last time. This time I hear you're back with a little banana ball.
Yes, the Bananas. They went ahead and messed around and sold out Fenway Park. So why wouldn't I be a part of it? It's a pretty cool run. It's fun. It's great to see these guys play. And I tell you what, man, I mean, you never lose sight and play in front of a sold out crowd in a major league ballpark.
Yeah. And that's a very different type of game too.
Are you hitting?
Yeah, I'll be hitting.
You'll be hitting?
Oh,
Yeah.
there's gonna be a lot of outs by fans because there ain't no foul territory there.
Yeah, that's big.
Fan
catches
it, it's
you're
an out, right? Yeah.
Yeah, a foul ball, you're out.
And Boston, they know baseball, so they got some baseball athletes. They might not have been able to play at Fenway Park, but they were over there in Worcester. They've been playing for years.
And they all have their gloves for this.
Yep.
And you hear early that's a sign of a good crowd is that they catch every foul ball. And Boston was one of the first ones that every foul ball is caught because they're all paying attention.
Yep.
When you see
True
people getting
story.
smoked, that's the people who are not paying attention, that are just talking, are there to be there. Boston crowd is there to watch the game.
Yep. It's a good
True
call.
story.
Okay, so before we dive into some data, I do want to bring up one current player situation that we were going to get to and figured, hey, let's get Johnny's take on this one too. So Jordan Montgomery leaves after a couple innings yesterday, had a rough outing. He's had a rough go of things so far. He fits the theme of pitchers specifically, who don't get through spring training at all, and then they sign late. He's got a ERA close to 7, 6 earned runs yesterday, 2 innings. They're booing him out there. Gave up a couple homers, the whole deal. It's just wild to look at someone like this versus what he did last year. I guess you could say the same thing for Blake Snell, who won a Cy Young Award. So what's your take on how that has gone down for 2 marquee pitchers? And do you think that a lot of this blame has to do with the fact that they didn't have a spring training, which has been something Blake Snell has been very vocal about?
Yeah, there's a couple ways to look at it. One, I guess it's cool to see Arizona fan base really plugged in. I don't know the last person they did boo. They go to the World Series and now they're hungry. So they got a hungry fan base out there. I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, it sucks to get booed, but their fans are in it to win it. Now, 2, I don't really have a horse in the race because I never didn't have a spring training. But there's a lot of talks that spring training's too long. And then you have talks like this about how important spring training is. So I think it's a unique, total polar opposites. The guys that are struggling say they need spring training. The guys that are doing good say spring training is too long. But I think spring training is important. I really do. I've always had a routine. I've always had a mission of things I want to get done. And I also went into spring training in spring training shape. And then you want to use spring training to get into season shape. So if you take that away, I can't imagine it's good by any means, but I never did it.
Who do you think that'd be harder for? I'm just trying to brainstorm right now. A pitcher who is coming in and not having the spring training to build up the arm strength, or the hitters who don't have the timing? Who would it be harder if they missed that spring training or those important games leading up to a season? From your
I think it would be
opinion.
harder. I think it'd be harder on the pitchers, tell you the truth. I do have an inning in the show with a strikeout, so I can't talk.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
But with that being said, the fastest way out of a slump offensively is hit a double or a bomb. You're 0 for 27, you hit a double or a bomb, you snap out of it. Pitching wise, you got to run some innings together, and then all of a sudden you're tipping pitches, you're not going to your strengths. I think it would be a lot harder for pitchers personally than hitters.
A quick follow here, Kelsey, bringing up a great point that we actually spoke about this morning on our meeting. If Montgomery makes his next start with the Diamondbacks, he'll be vested into his $20 million option for 2025. Anyone think the Diamondbacks could DFA him before having him make that 10th start? And I think, a couple other people in the media kicked that around. I mean, that would be headline news on this show. I'll tell you that. That would be a tough look.
Players Union would love that.
Yeah, to try and just hold someone back like that after what he's accomplished. I mean, you can do what you want to do, but I don't see that happening. But what would happen if they did make a move like that?
Well, you would have 29 teams interested first. And if he's DFA'd, right, it starts at the bottom. I mean, what if the White Sox grabbed him and traded him? What a hot mess that would create. But, that's on the board too.
Right.
Do you think that sends a bad message to possible free agents about Arizona?
100%.
Right?
100%. I think it sends a bad message to everybody. Like, if you want a guy, get him early. Get him in late January at the latest. Pound all your numbers. Do all your homework. You know who's going to be a free agent right now. I know when guys have big postseasons, they're going to ask for more, ask for that. But, man, I think it's a bad look for everybody. And it sucks to watch these guys struggle and then blame it on not having a spring training.
Yep.
All right, you're locked into your Boston life.
Yep.
Give me your best Jamie Westbrook. What are you gonna say to him after having 13,383 at bats in the minor leagues, and then he finally gets called up to the show? What are you, as Jonny Gomes, doing for that guy?
I'm going to give him a big hug because from 2017 to 2021, I was with him player development with the Diamondbacks. And, man, I worked with this guy for hours trying to figure out this leg kick and trying to figure this out. And, he was trying to spray the ball all over the field. And I was like, bro, if you're going to make it to the big leagues, it's going to be on the pull side. Right, you got all this go the other way, do this, do that. I mean, if you're in the minor league for 8-9 years and you haven't made it, you're just gonna have to start going fair or foul homers, right? No time to be the great hitter. You got to change the score, and that's what he's done the last couple of years. He's bounced around, but I'm extremely proud for that guy, and awesome for the Red Sox to honor his hard work.
How proud were you that, one, he made it as a Red Sox, but two, he had 21 dingers last year in the bushes, like in Scranton. So he was getting it. Did you know he had 21 dingers? Like, did you keep watching him after you even left there?
Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on him for a long time. He comes out to Arizona and hits with the guy Mike Franklin that I've worked with too. He's out there hitting with Bellinger and a bunch of guys out here in Arizona. And he's been putting the work in, man. He really has. I hope he runs into one in the big leagues, getting a hit, getting a day in the big leagues. But, yeah, it'd be really cool for him and his family to watch him hit a big league show homer.
It's really cool. I love that. All right, let's get into a little bit of youth data. We are going to shout out Nicholas Fernandez, pitching-wise, and go over his report first, thanks to Yakatech and a little baseball cloud action. So do you want to run through what a youngster out there can look at on a report like this and how they can learn whether they have the best coaching or not, but how they can take advantage of information like this?
Yeah, this is a good report coming out of Fort Myers. Of course, at a perfect game event, registered on Yakkertech here. But I mean, just look at the spin, right? If we go to the spin with his slider and his changeup, a little too similar. But again, they're so young. If I could switch that changeup and slider spin, I think you'd be in really good shape. A left-hander, you look at his release point. There's that window. He's in good shape. And look at those balls up and out right there. And those are all fastballs. He brings those pitches back in, he's going to be in good shape. And as I'm looking at this as a college coach or a coach for 17 to 18U or even in advance in the pros, this kid's off to a heck of a start. And again, we're just going to be amateurs and go right to the velocity, but that doesn't really matter much if you're keeping the ball in the zone and getting it out of the zone. Maybe there's some chase pitches, not a whole lot right down the middle. Good action for this young lefty.
Johnny, follow-up question. How can this be helpful for someone who's trying to get more expert advice from someone who can't watch every start of theirs? Maybe they check out a little bit of video for them, right? Like, let's say you get connected. I'm sure you've gotten this before. Hey, can you talk to my kid? And instead of just the motivational work hard and all of that, he could be like, yo, I'm going to send you my report, and you can give him a breakdown like that.
Yeah, we see those balls up in the top right corner. So that's, arm side for him. So he's probably flying open a lot. He's probably trying to throw too hard. And, just the simple things of seeing where the balls are going. And then you have to answer the question, why? It's not always about the radar gun. It's more strikes than balls, north and south, east and west. He was doing a good job of east and west, not a whole lot of balls down. Maybe he was doing that on purpose. But you see that little flying open spot up in the top right corner. We bring those in a little bit, he's in good shape. And see his change-ups, he's got some good change-ups down right there. One in the zone, maybe two more in the zone, he's in good shape. But as it stands right now, if you look at the results, kid did great.
All right, we're going to go to Michael's spray chart here because we're all about the hitters. We're all about dudes hitting balls hard. And my Neanderthal mindset is going to go right to the exit velocity. 93 miles an hour exit velocity. Like, let's get it. But what else can he divulge, or what else can he take from this more than just the exit velocity?
Yeah, what I love about this is you want to be able to learn to hit line drives before you can hit homers, right? So this kid's average launch angle was just 2. Right, this guy was smashing the ball right back at the pitcher, and that's what I love to see for a young hitter. And then you look over here at contact at 100, which means every time he swung the bat, he either fouled it off or put it in play. He had no swing and misses the whole tournament. 93, the max exit average was 2, and look at him staying right up the middle right there. So just line drives, hitting hard, and making contact 100% of the time. Pretty cool for a young pup.
I got one fan question for you, Rod, or from Rod, who said, how did you come up with your batting stance? And kind of if you can give us like the breakdown of follow through the whole deal. Like, how did that come about?
Well, it started with watching the 1989 Oakland Athletics World Series Championship. And you wanted to hit like Mark McGwire, Jose Canseco, and Ricky Henderson. So, yeah, that's how it started. There was no tech. There was no K-vest. It was like, let's hit like Jose Canseco. Didn't really make it all the way in the big leagues like that. But, some comps of your favorite players and what felt comfortable. I was always messing around. I say, Evan Longoria is probably one of the very few. Kipnis is one right there, too, who had a very similar stance. I was always messing with my hands, ended up fishing with a final bop off my shoulder. That kept me going, and who I learned from Richie Hebner. But, man, it is a work in process.
Richie Hebner.
Yeah, the
Richie
grave
Hebner.
digger.
Did he ever tell you the story about when he got fired and he had a corpse in the back?
I mean, there's not enough days to be alive for his stories. I would get one daily from Richie Hebner, and I never laughed so hard as having him as my hitting coach.
Richie Hebner was an elite hitter in the show, but his famous go-to story was he got fired from one of the big league teams. He got called. It was like one of those box phones. The guy called him. He's like, yeah, we're going to let you go. Now you're going to become a free agent. Turns back. This guy drove a hearse.
Yep.
And he dug graves, and he turns back to the guy in the back of his seat. He goes, huh, you think you're having a bad day?
Perspective.
Yeah.
Johnny, do you think you would have liked hitting with this kind of information at your hands? At your
100%.
You would have done better with it?
Yeah, 100%. I want to.
There's guys who don't like it, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there's guys that don't like signs getting relayed from second base too. Data, like I mentioned, is like a grocery store. There's different aisles for all kinds of it. You want a little bit, you want a lot, but there's also the data in the player development, and there's the data to help you like instantly, right? What if I told you this pitcher throws a changeup 100% of the time after he throws a curveball? A guy facing the big leagues from Milwaukee had great numbers off. What if I told you this guy's last 15 pitches, 3-2 count, were balls? That would affect you at the plate 100%. Data is one of the only things that can have you instant gratification at the plate or on the mound. And where data kind of gets, lost is it's never data's fault. And I 100% sometimes thinks it's data's fault. And the data was wrong all the time when the shift was happening. You have a guy over here, you have a guy over here, and it goes right to shortstop or right to second. But as it stands right now, data is 100% performance enhancing, and there's no chance you're going to get drafted without having data in you, especially in the first 15 rounds.
I agree with that, and I also like having the data for when it's a scouting report like you're talking about against a pitcher, when he 100% of the time he throws a changeup after this curveball. I love that information. You're saying data is never the problem. Do you not think maybe there are some hitters out there that they might be going well, but they're seeing their average velocity, exit velocity is not as high, so they start making a change when they shouldn't have, or they start over-analyzing their swing when they're actually doing great? That, I think, where data can be a little bit of a problem.
Yeah. No, maybe I word it wrong. Data 100% can be the problem, but we never blame the data.
Sure.
Right?
Okay.
We always blame the player. We always blame this. But yeah, data can be used wrong all the time. Look at some of these organizations that haven't hit on a first rounder in 8 years. Look at some of these offense approaches that go face a guy. It's like he's just pounding the ball inside and they're taking it. Right, you can see it play out, and everyone has the same data, but how you use it is the chess match in major leagues. But what I don't like all the time is like a manager coming and be like, "Hey, our numbers said this, we did this, and it didn't work." You never hear that, and I wish you would.
Are you using data to work on your swing before the Savannah Bananas game?
No, I'm just trying not to blow out the L7, whatever's going on. If I can sneak one off the Green Monster over, that would be fun. But bringing my son out there, soaking in the environment, it should be fun.
A little intercostal for you? A little intercostal for your bush?
Yeah, the obliques.
Well, Johnny, we can't wait to watch, man. Looking forward to that. Fun. Thanks for swinging by, as always. Appreciate you, Johnny.
Yeah.
You too. Johnny Gomes joining us on FT Live, and Data Dish is sponsored by our friends over at Magnus. Get yourself a yak or tick, as he would tell you. All right, let's move to better than box scores. It's funny, this was talked about in the chat by another Scott, not me, but Justin Henry Malloy was called up by the Detroit Tigers the other day. Hit a dinger, broke up a pretty special outing from Jose Urena.
Urena was dealing.
And what's up with him? Man, he's been around for a minute, and there's been times where I'm a betting man, I've faded him pretty hard some seasons. It is what it is, but the Rangers dusted him, but Henry Malloy hit a dinger, and the story here was his parents celebrating it. So good, and just perfectly done by the broadcast too, right? Like this is what I get excited about, where it had the right blend of showing him and the celebration with the teammates, but then also mixing in the quick crowd shot of his mom and dad. So good.
I love when they're in the stadium, when they're there live, the parents. I think it's even better when they're being interviewed during the at-bat. Those are awesome moments.
Yeah, and if they do something during the interview and they start screaming, like that's
as real as it gets. As real as it gets.
Mm-hmm. And that stands out for baseball. You know, that's something that I think baseball has that other sports don't have. Like even, you're an NBA player, like generally you're a rookie, you're going to play game one of the season. So like it's all game ones and you're going to score points. Like you could be an MLB player, you get called up in the middle of June and you could have been in the minors for a long ass time. And it could take you 20 at-bats to get a knock. Like there's so many parts to track.
Yeah, there's going to be some parents who don't want to do an interview. They want to watch their kid. They want to watch their kid's first at-bat. They don't want to be talking during it. They're probably nervous wrecks as well. But it's just such a cool moment when you get to see it live.
Real quick, I did remember I was watching an Astros, Twins game the other day, and it was Simeon Woods Richardson, who's pitching generally great for Minnesota right now, and he is from the Houston area. So his parents were there, and it was a great interview. And he was rolling for the first 2 or 3 innings, but during the interview, he gave up a homer. And I just feel for the broadcast. Like if I was on there, I'm like, we got to abort, or they're going to just blame. They're going to blame us, for jinxing it or something
like
like
them
that.
Push the mic away slowly.
Like, all right, well, thanks for talking to you. And obviously, it wasn't his debut, so it's different. But
he was back home. It was
a big deal.
He had a huge crowd. It ended up being a good start for him too.
Yeah, it was fine. I'm just saying the timing.
I think that stuff is what will make people connect more with the game. I think we need to do more of it. I think it is the human side. Even if that kind of stuff happens, it's the human side, but we don't do it enough because Justin Henry's a 6th rounder. So they're like, they're calling him up like he's not. This dude has a life. He has parents, and this is a huge moment. And for them to be able to see that and make that connection, it's not everybody's not Yamamoto. Not everybody's a first rounder. Not everybody's an all-star. And that's the beauty of the game of baseball is he can hit a home run to break up a perfect game. And like, you're not going to see that in the NBA or NFL. A dude might catch a 3-yard pass, just came in and all the other options were gone and he catches a touchdown and never has another touchdown. But this guy's had a legitimate minor league career, short, hits dingers. He might actually come up and help this Tigers team because he puts together good at-bats. And if we don't sell that, then we're only selling small portions of baseball that I think people don't always connect with.
Yeah, he's a pretty good prospect. But the Tigers
break up a no-no?
I mean, like deep in the game? I don't think so.
Right, like first at bat.
I hit leadoff. I broke.
Yeah, I was going to say, if there's a no-no and I'm in the game, we're losing. So they're pinch hitting for me.
It's like, I've broken up 3,000.
Bad leadoff for years.
I actually was never in a game of a no-no. Obviously, I'm not saying that it was me.
I broke up Verlanders in the 6th, I believe.
Okay.
And
That's right at the. That's like
cusp,
saying you were triple.
cusp.
That's like saying you were triple short of the cycle. Like,
is it? Well, also just because it's Verlander, and how many times has he taken a no-no into the 6th?
Right.
But also could be more impressive.
Yeah,
I would need it. I would need it in the 7th. I would need it in the 7th.
Really, you're going to short him on the inning?
I'm going to short him.
I'll let you tell him that one.
Who?
Yeah, JB?
Justin.
Exactly.
Somebody would have got. You would have gotten him the next time if you didn't get him that time. In the 9th, new.
Well, no,
Second
actually,
tape?
Justin specifically in the 9th is the rare breed.
Oh, he starts throwing harder.
Yeah,
starts trying.
Oh, because he's pitching.
He's the guy that everybody says pitchers should be like.
Guilty.
You say that.
I say that.
But the debate, I don't think we have time for this. But the debate is how many pitchers can actually do that.
Somebody came on and talked about
can't.
that. I forget who that was.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Where they're like, everyone should just be more.
They start
more
smelling
here.
the wind,
right?
And they get tougher.
but Jay, they're like they should just rear back every once in a while to give us that 98 or something like
My
that.
argument is you shouldn't throw 100 miles an hour on the first pitch of the game.
Unless you can, like Skenes and stuff.
But
Some
the
guys are
Skenes
like, I
throw
have to do that.
104.
I'm with you. I love
Anyway,
guys
because it's
who
an
get
injury.
harder
It's an
as
injury
they go.
conversation.
Mm-hmm. Just want to shout out Luis Severino. He's shoving. There's actually a lot of pitchers who were bad last year who are pitching really well. We've talked about Rodon a lot, so I know he was shouted out in the chat today too. But just want to focus on Severino, who also was a member of a bad Yankees rotation last year. It was Cole and then throw your hands up. And this year, that's not the case for the Yanks. But Severino has moved on and shined with the Mets. Shined. He looks back. He went 8 innings, too.
8.
7 hits, 1 earned run, no walks.
He had some traffic
4
in that 8th
strikeouts.
inning, too. Like, it wasn't like, oh, all right, 8th inning, we're trying to – credit to Carlos Mendoza. Obviously, Mendy had him last year, had him the previous years when he went through injuries, all that stuff, so he knows Sevy. He knows Severino, but credit to him because everything with the Mets is going south, even though they're still in it. And if they're going to climb back in it, that's a guy.
Yep.
That's a guy for them. And if they're not going to climb back in it, Sevy's going to be on a new team that's going to the playoffs.
It was a great signing. I will say that. Either way, like either it helps you or it helps you.
I love that dude.
Yep.
Yeah. Got a
If
low
there's
3
somebody
ERA.
you want to buy early, that's a guy. I love everything he does. Professional.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, a little Ellie show. I sent this one in, obviously, but the throw was sick.
Let's
what?
see it.
It was a nice throw. I mean, we should
are we showing
appreciate what he's doing here. You saw the jump throw?
I saw the jump throw. Not to knock anybody down. Who was the hitter?
Was it a slow poke?
Come on, man.
Yeah.
I don't remember who was hitting.
Stallings.
Come on, man. My little brother, he be running.
That's messed up.
Look at him. He's picking him up, putting him down.
He's not trying hard. He's just not going anywhere.
Just not. We got them cement legs, as McCutcheon calls it.
Look at, he's still not even in the picture yet.
As McCutcheon calls it.
I'm not saying it's not an awesome play, awesome throw, athletic, off the charts. Just take into account a little bit.
Got some old knees.
Got some old knees, man.
Got some
I'm
old
not
knees.
saying he's supposed to be fast either.
Hey, when you go that far into the grass and still going back to field it,
it's an athletic as hell play.
And Dralton Simmons, I was number 2 and number 7 one season in Dralton Simmons, like
he got a lot of
top
people.
100 plays of the year. I was 2 and 7.
Oh my gosh!
They both look like that, where it was like diving completely away from first.
I have one.
Catching it, getting up, fire, not even bang bang.
Mine was on Pujols. Like I was gonna say,
like you got Pujols on a.
Like
I was
deep into
shifted on
center.
the left side of. I was on the shortstop side.
Yeah.
Dove into the grass, got up, one hopper. Like still, I'm proud of the play. I'm just saying I do take into account who's running.
The sprint speed matters.
Oh, Pujols was sponsored by the Nike concrete cleats with all those foot injuries. Look, you hit a lot of dingers. You have one kryptonite.
Yeah, but that's part of the play too, right? You see guys sometimes rush a baseball because they have to.
Sure.
Right? Is this true that every single batter that stepped up, and it kind of became automatic, I'm sure, but every batter that stepped up in your head, you were like, all right, this dude's fast, this dude's not, this dude's kind of fast. Here's what I have to do right now.
Inner clock is huge on infield defenses. You have to, if you want to play infield, you have to know the runner speed. Because there are guys in the old like KC teams with Dyson and some of these other speedsters. Like I'm moving up. I'm almost with nobody on. I'm almost at a double play depth. With the Billy Hamiltons, with these guys, where it's just like you don't have a choice because if you stay back on a ground ball right to you, they're going to beat it out.
Mm-hmm.
That's why guys, yes, they get infield singles when you have to move to your left or right or slide, and they're beating it out. But they're also getting it through because that one step gives you so much. I had shortstops when I played, and I wasn't the slowest man on earth, but I was not anywhere close to average speed. That would play shortstops that would play in the grass. Now, obviously, they can't, and I would pull hook some rockets,
and they'd be there.
Yeah. Because they have you're giving yourself a wider range to be able to go get the ball. Plus, they can dive, get it, get up, and throw me out.
I don't think the average fan fully understands how good Major League defenses are, too.
They don't.
They really don't.
go to a AAA game and then watch a big league game.
Yeah.
That is a huge difference.
Mhm.
That's another reason guys hit 280 in AAA and 220 in the show.
Yeah, I started to appreciate it when I called a few TV minor league games after I had done a lot of major league games. And I'm like,
it's probably why they don't dead sprint every guy, is because they're going to be out. I'm not saying you not to try hard or not just to jog. You should give it a good try, but it's like you're expected to be out if the ball's on the ground a lot of times.
Or even the one I go to for defense, I used to be in the backup catcher, BP, third group. I'd go to first base for when shortstop and third are getting their ground balls and they're making their throws pregame, and then I'd go to second base. The best shortstops I played with, Jimmy Rollins, Alcides Escobar, Aroldis Arcia. Thank you. I can't even.
Orlando Arcia.
Orlando Arcia. I was just thinking Aroldis Chapman. That was bad.
Yep.
Orlando Arcia. Guys that were either Gold Glove or in the Gold Glove conversation would throw the ball to my chest. To my chest. If you want to be a big league shortstop, you have to make those throws consistently. And I'm saying down in the dirt, it's fine. I got to pick it. But in practice, you have to be able to throw those balls to the chest.
And I will say, lastly, from the fan perspective, jump throws are awesome to watch. Shows off athleticism. So
sure,
the more, the better.
He is talented.
We got 10-ish minutes to go in the show. Let's do some locks. Great trumpet from Kratz. Braves Nationals, free game of the day, streaming on the BetMGM app. Available to all BetMGM customers who are logged in and have funded accounts. I am actually choosing that game to make a selection, but I'll get to that in a sec. David O'Brien, our friend over The Athletic, covers the Braves, said entering this 4-gamer against the Nats, the Braves are now as close to the Nats as they are to the Phillies. They're 8 games behind Philadelphia and 8 ahead of Washington. That is a shocker for most people heading into the year, right? If I had told you early June, the Braves are 8 back of the Phillies, most of the baseball world would have been like, whoa, what happened? Did they lose Acuna and Strider? They did.
Too soon.
I know.
Too soon, Scott.
In fairness, and we've talked about this plenty, still think the Braves are a very dangerous ball club.
Yes.
I don't want to see Max and Sale in a playoff series.
No, Matt. Oh my God.
And the rest of the Braves lineup. No,
it's going to be crazy if they face each other again, and the Braves are the wild card, and they beat them.
That would be.
The rest combo would explode. It would be the load management explosion from the NBA fully carried into MLB.
Max and Sale and whoever the heck Alex Anthopoulos picks up, and he's going to make great moves.
Agreed. It's going to be a fun trade deadline, even if some of the GMs that wheel and deal have to force it. It's going to happen. All right, locks yesterday. Yanks made it no sweat bet for me. Well over the 9 runs that I needed from the Yanks and Twins. Todd Father is so freaking hot right now on his bets. He got his nerfy to hit with Baltimore and Toronto.
That Hansel.
You hit the rain, so that was good for you. Pap had a 3-team parlay. It was aggressive, so that didn't hit. We are having a year right now, most of us. Obviously, Kip is a small sample size, and I'm here to pick it up. He bets with his chest.
What better place to pick it up than here?
Yes, exactly. So
we all eating Sizzler today.
You lead off and break up this no-hitter for us.
I think I'm going St. Louis -1.5 for -110. I believe they're going versus the Rockies, but Sonny Gray's on the mound. I'm backing Sonny
against Dakota Hudson.
We talked about him. I love watching him pitch. Yeah. That's my pick.
Former Cardinal on the other side.
That's right.
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love that he's getting a chance to start, too, a little more for Hudson. I'm going with the Nerfy in the A's-Mariners game. The A's have averaged 0.2 runs in the first inning for the season. They're going up against Brian Wu, who can throw a speedball by some fools.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys struggle a little bit with catching up to the speedball. And the Mariners have only scored 0.285 runs in the first inning. And I'm going 120 to win 100.
Nice. Okay. I like it. I'll go Braves revenge game. Nats have been giving it to them, making it tough for them this year. And the Braves just got blanked by Boston 9-0. This is when they go, screw this. and the offense explodes. A good history against left-handers, and Mitchell Parker has a nice line for the year, but not as good lately. It's Reynaldo Lopez on the mound who just keeps dealing. So too many things favor Atlanta to win big in this one. So I'll go run line plus 105, 100 to win 105. And you can download the BetMGM Sportsbook app on iOS, Android, or at BetMGM.com. You can sign up and deposit at least $10 into that account. Place your first wager and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your bet falls. And if that bet does lose, your bonus bets will be available once your initial wager is settled. Gambling problem or concern? Call it 1-800-GAMBLER. Let's slap. Want to shout out one of our shows, Dodgers Territory, coming up in 3-ish minutes. Alana Rizzo and Clint Pasillas standing by to talk more about where the Dodgers are at, that series against Pittsburgh. There it is. And also shout out to them. I was watching on the plane with a glass of red last night when they broke down the post-game show of Pittsburgh. And look at me. I'm a mess right now.
He gone.
Well, it's fine.
It's okay.
It's end of show, so I'm just going to be unplugged end of show. But anyway, check out the show after. I'm just like taking all of my equipment off. It all fell with 2 minutes to spare.
Yeah,
so that's why we need them. That's why we have teammates here. Alana and Clint are about to take over. So check that out. And then Kratz, you want to read this beautiful tweet that describes something that you ask players about all the time?
Yep. I would love it. From Jack Curry at Jack Curry, yes. From yesterday when Cole pitched at Somerset last night, he honored tradition of treating teammates to a post-game spread. The order from Wolfgangs in Somerville, New Jersey included.
Shout out to Somerville.
Yeah, absolute shout out for Scotty's home base.
I spend a lot of time there with fam. I got some fam living there.
Included steak, if that's sea bass over there, shrimp cocktail, lobster, mac and cheese, and more. Minor leaguers always appreciate.
They do.
The fine food.
And you're not in the middle of nowhere, so that is how you deliver if you're Garrett Cole. You got to be like, yo, give me a top-end steak spot. It is suburbia in Jersey. You're not like in if you're pitching for the Brooklyn Cyclones, you can really get wild and get some food from either Brooklyn or Manhattan, but you need to go big.
That beats the Outback. And
correct. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like you can
Outback in Omaha
they're
delicious.
They're excited to have steak regardless.
No doubt. But this is when you're a big leaguer, when you're a Cy Young Award winner, when you are making $300 million, you go hard like this.
You do
and
cool
you maybe
stuff like
maybe
this.
get
Good
a
on
little
him.
Chick-fil-A,
Good on him too.
Chick-fil-A pregame. Just saying.
Ooh.
I mean, maybe a little Chipotle bowl.
Ooh.
Need a little
love bowl.
Need a little
love bowl. Maybe a gift too, which we've talked about in the past.
So that's my thing.
I know we're out of time, but we have done that. You could also give them a little FTTs a puck. Shout out to Tiza. The pouches and the pucks are available for you if you use the discount code FOUL, FOUL, for 20% off your first order at TizaEnergy.com. And actually, I have a puck. I'll show it to you while you do Kratz. I have my backpack right here.
Go hustle. Mine's in my backpack.
You do Kratz, and then we'll show the board right afterwards. So do that right in the middle here.
I mean, I don't know if Kip's old enough to know about this. You know that?
Mm-mm.
Backyard baseball?
I
Melon
do know
heads.
Oh wow, that is a good one.
It's
that's a good one then today.
You can see it. You can see it up close here. So we need your grade.
I'm giving that's a solid because that's a vintage at this point too.
Yeah. It was a night. It was a night we played. We were the backyard baseball. I assume
that's a good 8.5 out of 10.
8.5 out of 10.
I like that one a lot.
Scotty, you got to
do it letter grade.
Letter grade.
Then that would equal to a B+, I believe.
There you go. That's good.
B-ish. B+. I'm going to go B+. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I'll go B+ too.
I like the purple.
Me too.
The purple. And
no good teams wear purple.
Nostalgia. Who's not a nostalgia person? Backyard baseball is a big deal for me. So, and here's the puck right here before we get out of here. I have it. I'll put it right in front of my face. I'm told sometimes to stay still. Here it is.
And a 5-second count.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me tilt
5 seconds.
5, 4, 3, 2. Good job. So, FTTs and pucks, use discount code FOUL for 20% off your first order, or even if you're just looking for a little memorabilia FT style. Maybe we do something where you send it in and we get someone cool to sign it from this group.
100%
I'll do some of that, but also just tell your friends if they're dipping, stop. No nicotine, no tobacco. Here's your solution. Get after it. All right, good news. As we get out of here, we are back in this spot tomorrow. Friday's show right here. We'll see how we are, like from a stamina perspective, because we're about to play in a poker tournament today.
Win the poker tournament.
It's a 1 day today, and then the other one tomorrow is a 3-day tournament if you make it through day one. When. But today alone, if you make it to final table, will take you probably 10 to 12 hours deep into the day. Get comfy. We are wearing sweatpants. Kip talked me into it.
You don't want to be wearing jeans for 11 hours.
I had jeans on, and then Kip's like, we're not wearing jeans, are we? We're wearing joggers. I'm like, you're right, we should. But thanks everyone. Dodgers territory coming up next, so you don't have to do anything if you're on YouTube. Just let it flip right over to DT with Alana and Clinton. We'll see everyone on Friday.